We're the voice of the voiceless. Enough said.
Welcome back to Enough Said, hosted by Jemo, Carolite, and Cherry Poet. Today's topic is, should we still be sending our kids to college? Is it really necessary in this day and age? Jemo, what say ye?
Well, let me just start out by saying that there are many famous people who did not go to college, and not just famous, but successful people, like Henry Ford, who built the motor, the Ford Motor Company. And then you have John D. Rockefeller, who was among one of the richest men in America. Steven Spielberg, who does the films, he never went to college. Mary Kay Ash, who has the Mary Kay products, never went to college. And I won't name all of them. There are many, many more, like Michael Dell, who did the Dell computer, Richard Branson, who is a Virgin Air owner and a billionaire now, and Steve Jobs, who, as you know, founded Apple. So the issue here is with the mountain expense of college and with jobs where people can go into acting, they can go into sports, they can own their own business, they can do many things. Is it really worth the expense of all the student loan that kids are incurring today? What say you, Cherry?
All the names that you mentioned are names that are hugely successful, but they're from like longtime people. They're not this day and age people, if you know what I mean. What I mean is it's not kids just coming out of high school you're talking about. But with that said, I don't think it's necessary. Queen Latifah didn't graduate from college. And she did a commercial one time where she said that's one thing she always regrets. And I think that's what it is. It's something that we grow up feeling like college is that dream, and it's that necessary thing. And a lot of us, even after people become successful, they still want that college degree because it just looks so good, and it says people respect you for it. But the truth of the matter is, I was just talking to somebody about this the other day who came to fix my heat. Never went to college, never even went to school for it, yet these trades are what's paying the bills. These trades are getting these workmen a lot of money that an average job wouldn't be getting them, So I don't think it's necessary. I think it's just something we kind of want because it looks good.
Well, I think to answer that question correctly, we have to look at who we're talking to. I think it differs if you're Black or white. I think it differs if you're fat in America or thin. I think it differs if you have talent or if you don't. Because for example, if you're Black, say, how do you get recognized? How do you get up in society, with or without a college degree? You have to be talented. You have to be able to play basketball. And even when you're playing basketball or football or singing or dancing, sometimes you have to have that degree for the person in the white world, in the world who are hiring you to even get hired, unless you're extremely good. Like you'd have to be, somebody like a Michael Jackson who sings very well. He didn't go to college. He barely graduated regular high school because he was always on tour. So it depends. It depends on who you are and what you are about. Now you have pretty models, not to talk long, but models. And if they're pretty, maybe they can make it on their beauty. But if you're not, to that standard of beauty, then what do you do if you have no talent?
You marry a rich man like Melania Trump. But anyway, what I would say is I agree with you to an extent, Carolite, and I agree to an extent to her report as well. Before we get to minorities and college, because I really believe what Caroline said, there's a different standard. So it's probably more, and let me just touch on that. It's probably been more beneficial for minorities to go to college because, as I heard Lonnie on The View said, in the ghetto she was raised, and she has a degree in engineering, if you didn't go to college, you'd never get anywhere as a Black person, you know, so it was a stepping stone in the door for recognition is what I think I heard Caroline saying. At the same time, I believe that in this day, with the expense of college and in this day and age of computers, I think a lot of people can sit at home and be very skilled. If you are that person, you have to know who you are. Can you build a computer? Can you master a game? Can you master the stock market? You know how many people are trading on the stock market and making millions without a college degree? Can you master a skill or a trade, as Cherry Point says? So college is beneficial, don't get me wrong. But if you think you can run a small business, like a lot of people I know, without going to college and be successful, then by all means, nix the college. What about if someone offered you, you're a college, you're in high school playing pro sports, and somebody offer you pro and say, skip college. Here is $150 million for the first year or two if you play pro ball. Should you go to college then?
You know, yeah, people ask that question all the time, and the thing with sports is you can always get hurt, so you might not make it through that first year. Still, is college really necessary? Again, we see people all the time say, oh, this one is the first out of the entire family to go to college, and we're so proud. The college degree is this dream. It really is. It's something that we all grew up thinking this is like, oh, wow, you've got to have a college degree, And I find myself at night, I go to sleep and I always have these dreams of being in school. And I ask someone, what do you think that means? I'm always dreaming about being a student in school,
right.
Because I always respect and rate that piece of paper. We grew up hearing you got to get that paper. And if you look in the newspaper for jobs, they're still telling you, for a job that you could do without a college degree, they're still telling you need the degree. But the point is, these days, with like Jemo said, the internet, you can learn everything on the internet. There's nothing you cannot learn on the internet. People are learning how to play guitar from scratch on the internet without ever having to go to a class. You know what I mean? Trades, I think, is what it is, because you trade schools are less expensive and they're valuable. Look at Texas right now. Texas is screaming for, plumbers and people like that. You know what I mean? So you don't need to go to college to be a plumber. You don't even need to go to plumbing school. You could grow up with a dad who's a plumber and you work with him and you learn it, and you could go out. You could be one of those people in Texas right now helping out the situation and making a whole lot of money, without having to go to college, without having to pay that huge student bill, and without owing, everything and expecting the government to save you. You know what I'm saying? To take 50 grand off because I can't pay for it. You know what I'm saying? People, it's just too much. So I think it is a great thing to go to college, but people really don't have to shove their kids into college if they don't want to, because it's so many other ways of getting rich these days.
Well, I think, again, we have to look at what you mentioned, Cherry Point, the dream. But the dream is for an open opportunity. You see, when you have a degree, when you have a college degree, it's almost a guaranteed opportunity for various jobs. In fact, a lot of people are not working in the jobs that they have the degree in. But the fact that they have a degree is an open opportunity, an open door for many jobs. Now, you say, for example, a trade guy, Yes, he can get a job in his trade and make a lot of money, but that does not open the door to a variety of jobs. So you see, he would have to stick to that trade in order to be successful. So one reason why college is pushed is for that reason, that you're no longer, it doesn't make you one-dimensional. You know, you could go to college as an engineer or as a, you know, as a, for I know people who go to college for engineering and end up becoming doctors. They have a college degree in engineer, but the fact that they have that degree, they could enter medical school. You see what I'm saying? So it's a dream, but it's a dream for an opportunity. That's what makes the difference in going to college.
I agree. And you can't, while again, I'm on the fence in both, I will never knock the college experience and the knowledge that you learn. The experience with college, with, you know, the other people of like mind, hopefully, and the knowledge you gain should never be knocked. And so I really believe you should encourage people to go. But then if you have a child or a friend who said, it's just not for me, and you see they're doing good, making a lot of money as a truck driver. Truck drivers can make some money now. But then, you know, what someone said was, it depends on your ambition. You know, what is success for you? If success is to be able to pay your bills and go on vacation occasionally, which I think is good, and or you know, it depends on where you set your goal. Is success making six-figure, 150,000, or is it success making $1 million? So if most people who make $1 million, other than ones I mentioned before, need some kind of college education, because just to get in the door, they need that. And let me just say one more thing. I just saw online that there is, because a lot of people are scared of the tuition. It's astronomical, and you can never get away from those student loans. And I just saw online that there's a university called University of the People, the first tuition-free accredited university in the United States. University of the People. And you got, you know, people should look at it. It's tuition-free.
What is it, online?
I just Googled, and I was, you know, the college experience, and is it different? No, and the University of the People came up. It's the only accredited university that's tuition free in the United States. You know, I'm sure they might be coming to college as tuition free. I don't know, but it's a university and it's accredited. And it also have a long article. That's where I got those names from. And what it will say is, university is beneficial, but you shouldn't always make it mandatory for everyone. There are just some people who are not college bound. You just don't like going to college or universities. And if you can identify a particular talent in a person, you know, and they want to pursue that, like singing, sports, computer fixing, it's not just those high profile, because those, it's hard to get to the top. But, you know, you have a special skill, or even the trades, as Cherpoint says. Then should we be pushing them to get that student loan that's a hamper around their neck, you know, for the next 20, 30 years, 40 years?
You know, here's the thing. I wanted to talk about something Carol said, where she said that a lot of people go to college and then they're not even working in that field. See, that's where being in a trade is more beneficial as far as I'm concerned. Because if you you're coming out of high school, you can't afford, or you don't want to hamper yourself down with that huge college bill, or you don't feel like you could do college, and you go into a trade, refrigeration, I don't know, heating, whatever, mechanic, whatever the case is. It's not just about getting a job as a mechanic. It's not just about getting a job as a refrigerator man working for another man. You could totally start your own business right out of high school. You see what I'm saying? You could totally start your own refrigeration company right out of high school.
And maybe start making one soon.
And so it's not about working for somebody else when you do trades. It's about if you're that driven person, you could be running your own stuff. You know, you could take that first little job that you train on and learn and buy tools on the side until you have enough, and then now you take some of their clients, and now you got clients. You know, and now you're doing your own thing. I know people who've done that. You know,
right.
So,
But when you think of a college degree again, you have to think about flexibility. How flexible does a college degree make you? If you have a BA, like I said, you are flexible. If you have a plumbing degree, if you have a plumbing trade license, you have to focus on plumbing. You have to focus on, building a business in plumbing. But I'll give you an example. When I went to college, there were some Nigerians who had double degrees. They always went for double degrees. They went for like a degree in engineering, but they also went for a degree in management. So I didn't understand it back then, but later when I come to understand that, it means that if one fails, if you fail at engineering, then you can go to management. Or if you fail at, whatever, because a lot of times when you work, you're not working and doing necessarily what they taught you in school. You're doing what the company owner and business person wants you to do in order for them to make money. So you're working for them. You're not happy in your job. When you have that degree is almost like an anchor. You can just nix that and go to something else.
So while Carolite gets back in, let me just say that there are certain industry, such as the science, that you definitely need a college degree. So if you're interested in becoming a doctor or a NASA spacecraft engineer or, anything scientific, it's going to be very difficult unless you just happen to be one of those people who can build something on your own and it take off and you get it patented and trademark and it takes off. Again, you're going to be in the minority and the probability of success is narrower because, it's so hard to get in that field. But so certain industry needs a college degree, but again, it's up to you and your individual, of course, if you're going to be a lawyer, those things need a college degree and advanced studies. But just these days, to me, lawyer, doctors, and those jobs are no longer the best jobs that you push your kids for anymore. In this world of technology, it's something that has to do with technology or, as you say, trade. You know what I mean? That never goes away. So I believe that your kids can be successful without wanting to be a lawyer or a doctor or an engineer necessarily. There's so many other jobs out there that they can get themselves involved in.
Absolutely. And I mean, I know people right now who have a college degree, and Carol is saying it opens doors, but I know people right now who have college degrees. They've had it for many, many years, and they're working in a warehouse somewhere, for $10 an hour. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it doesn't always open doors. It's just it's a good thing to have. It's you love to see it, you love to meet people and know that, oh really, you graduated? Wow, it looks good. And it's an accomplishment.
Right.
It's an accomplishment that you could cherish and you could show the younger ones, something to encourage them to want to go to college and do great things too. But again, you don't need to go to college, although we all kind of want that dream. We all kind of want that.
Well, two things. Yeah, I agree to a certain extent, but I know one of the things that why I even like talking about this topic is someone wrote just today, I saw it and said, a master's degree and making $18 an hour, it's just so pathetic. That's what she wrote. Again, though, we have to realize overall that when you're Black, and not just Black, when you're a minority and when you're poor, when you're poor, you have to be able to, kind of encourage your kids to move on to college. Because minorities are not even considered.
So I think straight out of high school, some kids, if they're not ready for college, they can do that trade, save that money up and you know, maybe 3-4 years down the line, go to college and get that degree still, you know what I mean? So you have it, and so you can step up in life if that's what you feel like you need to do.
But don't forget the proverb, labor for learning before you grow old, because learning is better than silver and gold. Silver and gold will vanish away, but a good education will never decay. Remember that? So it's not just the money you go to college for, it's for the knowledge and the education as well.
And the experience. And the
experience. Absolutely.
Yeah. Which is why, you know, I kind of don't dig the online college stuff. You know, I've always liked the idea of being out there on campus, because being online, just like how they're saying these kids are suffering right now, you know,
it's
the kids
the same.
Yeah, it's not at all the same. The college life is something I believe everyone should experience if you can.
Right.
And if you can complete it and graduate and get that degree and put that paper up on your wall, that's priceless.
Of course. Yeah, and just to finalize the whole thing, I really believe that we should move towards having colleges be less expensive and having, I like that concept of the tuition-free university. It's first I'd heard of it. I like the concept of Joe Biden trying to get rid of student loans if it's successful.
I heard he said he wasn't
at this moment. But
in fact, I sent you guys the clip.
Yeah, but what he's looking at is more free community college or free, you know, but he said he'll consider it at a later date. But I like that, you know, Bernie Sanders was very big on it. I like, you know, education, you should not have to pay so much money for it. I really like the concept. And
you know what, Gemmo, and it's not just the high cost of going to of the college fee, you know, the money you have to pay to go to college. That's not the only thing. You know, the other thing is the books. You know, I remember paying like 300 and change for one science book. Like, you know, it's ridiculous. Why are these books so expensive? Why?
Yeah, it's too much. You know? The whole college experience is living on campus. Oh my goodness. So, but I am not discouraging it completely. I think it's an individual choice. And I believe that, you know, it is helpful, but I don't think it should be mandatory as people make it seem. It's never mandatory. You can go, you cannot go, but parents always make it seem like it's mandatory. I would still encourage my children to go to college. I mean, if they were young, they've already, you know, but I would, if I see that a child has a particular talent, I probably would ease up a bit on them and not push them so much. What say you, Caroline?
Well, what I was about to say before I fell off was that some people look at college also as a way to weed out people, because again, college can be, you know, it also sends a message about perseverance. You know, going to college, you know, you have to remember it is a higher learning institution, and you're definitely learning a lot more about, you know, certain fields or certain goals. You're also learning how to persevere through what could be a tedious process for some people for 4 years. It shows character. It shows that somebody can go through it, you know, possibly challenging situations without giving up. So the BA or the master's or especially the PhD shows a level of perseverance. It also shows when somebody is educated with a bachelor's or a master's or a PhD, there is a way they conduct themselves. They've learned to conduct themselves, which is a lot different sometimes without the education. And this is why I think in the real world that we live in, you know, that degree means a lot more than just something on paper, because it demonstrates to whomever that this person, you know, is is a person of she's their goal, or it says a lot about a person. You're goal oriented. You know, you're a person who again perseveres, and then you also want to strive to the highest degree that you can be, the best you can be, right, in a world that is looking for that.
Yeah, you just touched on a point that never occurred to me, which is, yeah, it does show perseverance and all that good stuff, because, you know, if you stick through 4 years, then chances are you'll stick through whatever it is you're doing in life. Follow whatever your goals are and your dreams are. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Enough Said, hosted by Gemmo, Caroline, and Cherry Poet. Do follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube. Like us, comment, and all that great stuff. And hey, we'll see you next time.
We are the voice of the
voiceless.
Enough said.
Current events, injustice, police brutality, systematic racism, politics. What say ye? Enough said.